right, guys. It's funny because it's about 30 seconds behind on the live. There we go. Now it just popped in. It's weird how StreamYards works sometimes. So,
Give you a little
good
delay.
evening, guys. We got Tom Bell. Huh?
I said gives you a little delay.
Yeah, it does. So tonight we got Tom Bell, the midlife trucker. Feel free to post your channel down there at the bottom. I'd like everybody to go and check you out. Very interesting guy. He's pretty much up on all tech devices and everything. And been trying to get him on here for a while on the show. We've been friends for a little bit. Kind of met through Trucker Todd. Never met in person, but kind of know him through Trucker Todd. Him and Trucker Todd have their little squabbles or whatever you want to call it. But he's a good guy, very knowledgeable.
Nothing. It tried to play something on its own when I went there to get my link.
Oh, I got you. So, anyways, I'm going to let him talk about what he's got going on, what company he works at, and kind of introduction to himself. And once he does that, we'll go through some of the comments and we'll try to answer some questions, guys. Feel free to Tom.
I'm at Cheeseman LLC. It's a 300 truck carrier out of Ohio. Biggest problem with recruiting people to Cheeseman is we don't have open trucks. We have a very low turnover for what the industry has. I believe they hired 3 or 4 drivers last month, and we just don't have any open trucks because people aren't leaving. But if you live in the right place, they'll find one for you. Unfortunately, most of us don't. I think right now they're looking at Duncan, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and possibly the western side of Atlanta. Not out where I live. They were specific, not where I live. I live in Timbuktu. But we haul forklifts, pallet jacks, batteries. It's not so susceptible like spot market, and we don't spend a lot of time at shippers and receivers like refrigerated. And I tell everybody, it's on you where you're going to drive. You've got to check everything out before you go anywhere. Look beyond the CPM. A lot of people go company to company to company because, oh, they pay 3 cents more. You got to look at the entire picture: culture, home time, equipment, compensation, knowledge, and make the best decision for you. Everybody's like, oh, Tom, you're lucky to find Cheeseman. I wasn't lucky. I did a lot of research. Somebody told me about the company, and I did a lot of research on them, went and checked them out, and decided it was the company for me. Before I went to Millis, which was my first company, I checked them out. As you know, you were at Christensen. I checked them out. Good company, great equipment. Just what I wasn't counting on is I just wasn't making as much as I was as a company driver, so I wasn't as happy. And when you're not happy, it's not going to matter. But
Yeah, that was my issue with Christensen too. Is I couldn't break that $1,800 a week is what I couldn't break. That was the most that I could make. And you and I both know that, if you're going to be out here on the road, you want to make more than that. That's for sure.
Biggest problem I kept encountering is just they'd give me a load to left on Tuesday out of Atlanta, and it would deliver 400 miles away on Wednesday evening. That doesn't help me. And here we do a lot of LTL. They build a lot of loads for you. Like I just did an 8-stop load, pretty much running my clock out, and they let you run it how you want to run it. There's no do it this way, do it that way. I called them up and said, hey, I want to flip these 2 stops. They said, yeah, no problem. They flipped the stops in the app. I went to the next to last one first because of hours that they closed. There was no point sitting in their driveway when they were already closed. So, and it worked out for me. I have one more stop left on that load. I'll deliver it in New York, and then I'll go on to Connecticut to the terminal and pick up. I don't generally do Northeast, but pays better.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, I see some chat popping up now.
Yeah, here we go. My wife she always pops up. She's telling me hello. We got Sean Fairman, loud and clear. We got Jerry McClure saying hello. Cat Jockey's listening while he's cooking his steaks. And that's funny that you say that because I just had me a steak too. I stopped a little early and got me a steak going. So next one is You Didn't Build That. Says, hey guys, I'm interested in getting into trucking. He's 17 years old. My two dads, yes, they're married to each other, said I needed to make something of myself. Am I too young to become a trucker? I think you have to be 21. Isn't that correct? To be
18.
Intrastate, 18 for intrastate, but 21 for
Correct.
interstate, isn't it?
And you know, isn't that something that's kind of
right.
crazy? Everybody got all upset when they did that little pilot program with the 3,000 drivers. But the craziest thing is you can drive from Lubbock, Texas to Laredo with an intrastate CDL, but you can't go from Texarkana, Arkansas into Dallas. You know, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. For some reason you're thinking, I guess where are you at? You're in Ohio, did you say?
I am in Pennsylvania, barely across the line from New York.
I was going to say your internet is kind of going in and out. There's my boy Chris Poppy just said hello, Nicole. American Patriot says, can straight people watch, or is this just for the gays?
All right,
okay,
did that
looks
help
like
me?
we
I
got some
dropped my
trolls
resolution
coming.
down low.
No, you sound fine.
Okay, I dropped my resolution down a little bit.
American Patriot, I don't know if that was a troll comment or if that was a comment towards you didn't build that. Doesn't matter. There's Austin Tanner. He's one of our guys. Any guys on here? I mean, we got 10 people on here. Anybody have any questions for Midlife Trucker and what he does?
Has anybody even seen the channel? I'm not as big.
Yeah. You're 4,000 people, aren't you?
3,000. I'm looking for the link and how to put it in and all that other stuff. You know, I'm not that.
Yeah. Put your channel down there in the comments. American Patriot said he made us laugh. That's all that matters. Well, my wife tells me that's why she's with me, is because I make her laugh. Jerry McClure says, hello, Rabbit. Jerry McClure lives real close to where Poppy lives at. He was wanting to come aboard. Yeah, I didn't know how many people we would get tonight because this isn't my usual night and time. I saw Cash is King just did a live show, so about 30 minutes ago. So a lot of people are watching him. He usually gets about 100 people. Yes, it is.
And that is really something a lot of people don't understand, because a company that's right for me may not be right for you. If you live in Denver, Colorado, you're not going to want to go to work for somebody like Millis Transfer, or you're not going to want to go to work for Prime. They probably wouldn't hire you anyway if you live in South Florida. You know, so every person has to live in an area that makes sense for that company. And a lot of drivers don't get that. They just look at it from the avenue of oh, they're hiring, they hired you, they'll hire me. You know, I've got 10 years experience, they'll hire me. That's not always the case.
That is true. So I guess Cat Jockey happens to be a friend of yours. He said he knows you, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Cat Jockey, okay. He says Thomas videos. Huh?
We were at Millis. Millis Transfer was my first company. That's where I went to training.
Okay. All right. I asked him to subscribe to my channel since he's not familiar with it. So you didn't build that. Said, cool. My birthday is next month. There's a CDL school near where I live. My dad said they would pay me for training. That is true. And you can also get the company to pay for your training too if you can find one that's intrastate. And that means in the state where you live at. Where you live at, you don't build that. That's kind of weird how I said that. Where do you live at where you don't build that? Okay.
One thing that people should consider when looking at whether they're going to go to a truck driving school or they're going to go to a school that's run by a mega carrier. If you go to a school, a CDL school at a technical, you may wind up owing money to them, but you won't have a 1-year obligation to the company that you go to, or it could even be longer. But the negative side of it is when you graduate from that CDL school, you've got a CDL in your hand, but no job. If you go to a carrier, Swift, Millis, CR England, you make up the number, but evaluate them all before you decide which one. You've got, not only do you have a CDL, you've got a job and you've got training, and they're vested in you. So you've got a better reason for them to want to keep you. You go to a trade school, you're walking in blind and you don't know if anybody's going to hire you. Every one of these technical schools has got a whole bunch of pictures on the wall of drivers that went there. Look and see what year they went there. Some of them suckers are still driving cab overs.
Yeah, cab overs has been gone for quite a few years now, 20 at least. So OTR Vic says he used to watch you when you were with Ardor Express. I really like this next name, Biden Wears Diapers. He says that Millis sucks. They're owned by Heartless, and they produce the worst drivers. And when he says Heartless, he means Heartland Express. Cot Jockey says it's slang for EMT. He rode the ambulance for 17 years prior to trucking. So he's a former public service guy like myself. I was a police officer for 18 before I got into trucking. So me and the wife both. Interesting. Biden Wears Diapers. If I'm not mistaken, Biden Wears Diapers is somebody that watches the Swift program that the Swift guys put on every Tuesday night. I've seen his name pop up before. That's hilarious. Biden Wears Diapers. You didn't build live in Houston. That kind of, I see you laugh. Biden Wears Diapers. Is that what you're looking at? Tom? Did I lose your volume?
No, I'm handling a problem. Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, man. So he lives near Houston. So, yeah, you can do 18 and still drive, but you got to stay inside the state you live in. Yeah. 13 people in here, believe it or not. Anybody got any questions they want to pop up? Or is this going to be a short show tonight? I don't have the preacher on here tonight. We had a good time last night. Unfortunately, I had to pull the video down. Preacher said some things that he shouldn't have said, I guess. We had to pull it down. Did you watch last night's video?
No, what did he mention? That disease that came around and everybody had to get shots for or something?
No, nothing. Something about our company. I'll send you a link to it later, and you can watch it for yourself. I just can't put it up here publicly. Yeah, it was something. There's my boy Country working at Schneider. Cot Jockey, looking slim there, Tom. You have lost a lot of weight. I can tell that too.
I tell you
Jerry
what,
McClure says.
I didn't think we could lose weight eating steak.
Buddy, you must be on that carnivore diet. Are you on the carnivore diet?
I did the carnivore. And, man, I tell you what, I never would have thought you could lose weight eating bacon, beef, eggs, and butter. And I'll tell you, I'm a believer now. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it forever. But, man, and it's cheaper than that heart attack in a sack from McDonald's. Literally, you pick up a steak for $10. You know.
A few years ago, and we lost a lot of weight on it. I know I did. Let's see, I'm trying to think when this was. 2021. I went through the process with Prime. I really wanted to go to Prime Inc. Got on the scale, and I was 301. And I said, yep, it's time to start doing something about it. And shortly after that, we started that diet, and I never went to Prime. I only went through their little couple-day training program at that time. They were really going over some stuff, and I said, "Yeah, I'm out of here." Called my wife; she can't pick me up. I said, "I'm not dealing with that." Just didn't know how that was going to go. But anyway, I'm down to. I think last time I was at home, I was 242. That's the lowest I've been since I was in high school.
I was 296.
Jerry McClure says, you were 296?
September of 2019, when I went to get my first physical, I was 296, and I didn't weigh myself again after that. So I probably did break 300. And I went on the keto diet there for a while, lost a bunch of weight. And then I just did smaller portions, managed to lose some more. And this time I decided to do the carnivore because I was kind of stalled at about 241, 245. Did the carnivore. Now I'm down to about 220, 219. I want to get to a number that starts with a 1, and then I'm going to just stay with reasonable portions. I do have Olive Garden scheduled for right after this little contest ends, this little challenge I'm involved in with Frank and John. As soon as that's over, driving with John and the grumpy old trucker. As soon as that's over, Olive Garden. Wife and I are headed to Olive Garden.
That's funny. That's funny. So Jerry McClure said, y'all still at JB after last night? Yeah, we're still at JB Hunt right now. Can't really go into a whole lot of other details about it, but yeah, we're still with JB Hunt. We're trying to work things out. So Biden Wears Diapers says, I have a question for your guest. What are some of the pros of driving for Cheeseman?
Really, they're keeping me moving. Just recently I had an 8-day week. You know, we have 8-day cycles, and that's including a reset in there. I got 4,715 miles. How many people get 4,715 miles in 8 days? Now, granted, I was hustling and running my butt off. But, you know, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you want to be a solar driver and work 8 to 5, they got those too.
Okay. American Patriot said he ran a dedicated Sara Lee route back in the 90s, ran 80 west to east to west and back, money hand over fist, running two log books. I don't know how you guys make it these days. It ain't easy, that's for sure. The wife is telling the other guys hi, Chris and Country. So we got a new guy here, Christian Jennings. My friend drives for Cheeseman. He grosses $2,000 plus weekly. He loves it there. I'm going to turn in my SFI truck and apply with him. I'm out of Duncan, South Carolina. So there you go. There's your Duncan, South Carolina guy. Christian Jennings. I'm curious, Christian, what company did you work for with your SFI truck? Next guy, Late Night Juice. What happened to the video last night? Had it saved and went back and it was gone. Well, we didn't get in trouble, Late Night Juice, but we were asked to take the video down. So I took it down for respect of a friend of ours. So it went down. Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. So Christian Jennings said he worked for the Orange Pumpkin. Well, there's other companies other than the Orange Pumpkin to take your SFI truck. I don't know how much research you've done, but there's a few. So Elwin, hi, is Southern Virginia a good spot for JB Hunt load board? I'm sorry, Northern Virginia, not Southern. Yes and no. I mean, when you're in Northern Virginia, you got Maryland. We've got some places in the Baltimore area. You got obviously up in Pennsylvania, which isn't that far from Northern Virginia. You're just as far from North Carolina. We all right out in North Carolina. Every once in a while, a guest goes a bit off the rails, and that is the truth. He says he understood. He missed it. Yeah. Unfortunately, man, I don't think that video will go back up. I'm not saying it won't ever, but it's not going to go up, at least in the next few weeks. It might go back up some other day. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. I can't really go into a whole lot of details. You didn't build that. I think truck drivers are so cool. People don't realize how our economy is dependent on trucks. That is an understatement. I'm sure you've heard this before too, Tom, but I heard the statement once before that 95% of everything that's in households is come from a truck. There's only like 5% that come through the rail. Have you heard that before too?
And even if it comes by rail, it's still going to do that last mile on a truck. So
that's right. It's always going to do that on the truck.
There is going to be evolution in this industry. It is going to change. You know, got to keep in mind the industries that I was in previously, field artillery, all the weapon systems that I know are now in museums. Okay, so, and they won't let me fire them. Then I was in the newspaper world. Where's that at now? Now I'm in trucking. Y'all might want to run for the hills. If the midlife trucker
Yeah,
gets into it, it could be bad.
you're the bad luck. So Austin Tanner just said something. James, you need to upgrade your Wi-Fi game. Well, I got news for you, Austin. I've got T-Mobile internet, home internet, and as of right now, that is probably the best internet that I've heard of. Have you heard of anything better,
I'm running the
Tom?
same thing you are, the T-Mobile home internet 5G gateway. But I hear what he's talking about. Every once in a while, you crack up a little bit. I lowered my video resolution down to the lowest I could to see if that helped.
Yeah, I think it might just be where we're at or something. I'm in South Carolina right now. I thought this would be a good truck stop to pull over. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. You know, you're up there by New York. You think you'd have good service up there where you're at.
Oh, but not New York City. This is not the part of New York that everybody thinks about when they think of New York. This is the
Yeah.
part of the New York where you see all the Trump signs.
Okay, I got you. Late night juice. I'm here at JB Hunt. Been here since May after being with Schneider for 7 years. I'm on my second SFI truck. Juice, I hear you, buddy. I came over to JB right about the same time. I came over in June. I did the Schneider thing for 3 months just to get the SFI truck. I had every intentions of coming to JB Hunt because of Poppy. I don't know how much of our show you watch, but Juice, if you want to, man, feel free to give me a ring after the show, man. We can kind of talk some numbers if you feel like it. Feel free. I put my number up here all the time. Matter of fact, I'll put it up here in a moment. I'll put it in the comments later. Christian says, "Hey Tom, I'm interested in OTR. My buddy says he never sits on docks at Cheeseman. Is that true? Basic LTL freight, right?"
Yeah.
That's what he
with
said.
LT, look, we're delivering stuff they really want. So if we pull into a Walmart, we jump in the left lane, go straight through because the maintenance guy's there waiting on us. We're not going to the same docks that other people are. You know, we're not doing dock number 197, 184. We're pulling in and the maintenance guy, they're going to get on the radio and say, "Hey, maintenance, what dock you want this guy at?" And then the maintenance guy's coming out to get it. He doesn't want to sit around and wait for us to find the right dock. He wants us, unloaded as quickly as possible.
So, Cot Jockey says Cassius King pushes for Nomad Internet. I looked at the Nomad Internet. The problem is it's like 3 times the price of what I pay now. I don't know if that's really an option or worth it, in my opinion. So you answered Christian's questions. You didn't build that. Says one of my dads thinks truckers are mostly mean MAGA types, but my other dad likes MAGA. So you can imagine the conversations we have at dinner. I bet that is an interesting conversation. Christian Jennings says, my buddy Tim says that you guys can overnight at pretty much all the Crown facilities. Is that correct?
Yeah, their name is on our trailer. We're hauling 85% of the loads I haul. Now, there are some people in certain areas that haul more broker loads and things, not necessarily broker loads. Broker loads is the wrong thing. That's contract freight, but it's not necessarily dealing with Crown. What I haul pretty much is almost all Crown. Every once in a great while, I'll have something else on the trailer, but normally forklifts, batteries, pallet jacks, parts, and it's going to a different Crown. And the good thing about Crowns is they're pretty predictable. Their hours, they close early sometimes, 3:30, 4:30, but you know which ones are open, which ones aren't. You use your clock wisely, figure out the best time to drive, and work it out.
Okay. So, Cot Jockey says, yeah, super expensive. I have T-Mobile as well. I love it. Yeah. You know what? I've never had any problems with T-Mobile. Just little sketchy things here and there, but nothing major. I mean, I watch TV with it with no problem. Doesn't freeze up. It's pretty good. Christian Jennings, do you guys like to go to places like Texas, California, etc.? Yeah, I do. I mean, I like to go all over. Unfortunately, you go some places, you end up getting stuck. What about you?
I just came back from the California. We only have 1 to 2 California loads a week. Generally, and there's 300 drivers. The hardest thing to get used to here is when you walk into dispatch, and that's right, I said walk into dispatch. When you walk into dispatch, the first question they say is, "What do you want to do?" And you're not used to that. You're used to somebody. And my first thing to them was, "Well, don't you tell me where to go?" They said, "No. Do you want to go home? Do you want to go east, west, south? What do you want to do today?" I said, "Hey, what do you got that's long?" And they say, "How about a Laredo run?" "Okay, give me a Laredo run." Or maybe I want to go home sooner, or I want to do a multi-stop. I just ask for it. And they give it to you. If they've got it. Now, you ask for something really screwy, Alaska, no, you're not getting it because they don't have it. But they can also build a load for you. Like if I want to go home and I tell them I need to be home, say Friday, and it's a Wednesday, they might give me a load and say, "Okay, you're going to do 2 stops in Tennessee, and then you're going to stop in Duluth, Georgia, then you go home, and then you'll deliver the last stop in Orlando after you come off home time." They can build something like that if they need to. And it helps. LTL is a whole different animal.
All right. So late night juice says, "I've been watching you since you started at Schneider. I'll definitely give you a call so we can compare notes. I really appreciate the comments. Keep it coming." Late night, I just put my phone number up there. Feel free to call me after the show if you want to. I can't imagine us going longer than an hour, and I'm going to be driving through the night a little bit. Biden wears diapers says, "2 dads? What the F?" Man, I know this Biden wears diapers. He goes on the Contractors Corners, the Swift guys thing all the time and makes comments too. He's pretty funny. Texas a main freight line. That's you. My wife says, thank you, late night juice. Cot jockey. My Ram McNally gets internet from it. It has a good signal. It has good ping for online gaming and experience. I agree with you. I've never had that problem with the T-Mobile internet. I think we're caught up with some lives here. Here we go. Austin, how does pay work at Cheeseman? How does your pay work at Cheeseman?
It's clearly posted on the web. They don't hide it. You don't have to give any information to get it. Like they don't ask for your email address. They don't make you register. We get paid basically by the stop, by the mile. You get paid for 34-hour resets. You get paid for layovers. What's even better, we get paid for detention, but don't count on getting any. What's better than being paid for detention is not being detained. And after an hour, if you're sitting at a dock on an LTL, they start paying detention at $27 an hour. I've never sat for an hour. It just doesn't happen. Maybe 10, 12 minutes, 15 minutes here and there. It's just not going to happen because on my channel, I've got detailed pay stubs. I'm a little behind. I'm about 7 weeks behind. I know. I'm working on it. I got about 3 of them going up in this week. Help catch me up. You got to remember something. Social media is not the full-time job for me. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Truck driver. I mean, social media is nice, but it's not the full-time. Don't you love that big window on an international? You can watch the guy back right into you.
Well, I had a guy walking next to me here. I was wanting to see what he was doing. I do love that. That was one of the major things I had to have this time around.
You know what's missing?
Didn't have windows. What's that?
You know what's missing on the internationals? That push button that you can push to lock the doors from the back.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know if your international has it, but I've got a key fob. Do you have a key fob?
No.
I've got a key fob.
The boss.
Yeah, I can sit here in the sleeper and just push the key fob and shut it.
Yeah, well, on the Peterbilt and on the Kenworth, there's a button on the wall. And on the Volvo, there's a button on the wall. But the problem with the Volvos is it unlocks and locks. So I had to put a piece of tape on it so I could always remember which way to push it because it's sideways.
My Swift Volvo didn't even have power door locks. Did yours?
Oh, yes, and a remote control.
Wow. My Volvo.
Now, mine was at Arter. And I had one of the things I like about the Volvos, they put plenty of USBs all in the great locations, 12 volts, outlets. Everything was where it needed to be, and they used all the cubbies they could figure out where to put one. I mean, they even had a little place to put your shoes down below.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. International's real good about it with all the different storage spaces and things.
Paper towel holder.
I know. I love that paper towel holder. Come on. How many trucks have a paper towel holder?
None of them do. So the wife says we all need to stay focused on trucking, not somebody's personal preference or family dynamics. Everybody has a story. That is true. We shouldn't, be doing that. I get it. Somebody's trying to be funny. Cod Jockey, Tom has great detailed pay stuff videos on his channel. And that's what he was just talking about. Biden wears diapers. Tom, tell me about the owner of Cheeseman. I heard he's a driver who also pulls loads.
Yep. He drives truck 3372 or 3375. He's got a Peterbilt, and he pulls 1 week every month. He pulls loads. He works 2 weeks at Fort Recovery, 1 week at our Greer terminal, and the other week he's on the road just like the rest of us. And he pulls the same loads we do. He goes to the same docks we do, sees the same people we do. I've actually been a week behind him before when I made a run, and he was there the week before me.
So he said also, and you're a dude who flies drones over truck stops for TikTok money.
Let me tell you, it's hard to get monetized on TikTok, all right? You never know what's going to do well on TikTok when it comes to monetization. You'll have a video you think is horrible, and it'll just rake it in. You have another one that does $12.03, and you're like, what the heck? I worked hard on that.
So you didn't build that, said Volvo trucks are sweet. Sorry, Volvo. I don't know if you read that on purpose or what. Man.
Hey, Volvo is also the only truck that has a driver's side airbag.
That's right.
And I actually heard somebody from one of the other companies who clearly doesn't know trucks very well was talking about why we don't have airbags in trucks to protect the drivers. Obviously, he had never seen a Volvo had one. And it was a company that uses mostly Freightliners. And he was talking about, you can't have an airbag in a semi because it could accidentally deploy and this and that. He was going on and on about why you couldn't have one. Clearly, he's never been in a Volvo 860 or 760.
Volvo's had airbags in their trucks for quite a few years.
They have.
2+ yeah.
Mack is going to be getting them too.
Now, Mack is the Volvo twin now since they bought them out.
Yeah.
They're the same truck except for the body. Actually, surprisingly, we got 21 people in here. Pretty decent questions come up. So you didn't build that, says, wow, I didn't know that about Volvo. School buses don't have airbags either. Why is that?
Well, I mean, if Volvo made a school bus, I'm sure it would have one. But
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. Now, if you noticed, when I was a kid and went to school, there was only one person on the entire bus that had a seatbelt. I've heard that school buses today have them, but when I was a kid, the only person that had a seatbelt was the bus driver.
Buddy, we used no crap. We used to jump around every which way on those buses.
So did we.
My wife says, nice catch there. You didn't build that. Talking about the Volvo. OTR Vic says, Tom, why did you leave Ardor? I don't recall you doing a video on why you did.
I did a video just briefly. I was there for 9 weeks, and I believe heavily in culture. And I just did not think that I made more money at Ardor than I made at any of the other companies. And I haven't been at that many companies. I've been at Millis for a year. I was at Cheeseman for a year and a half. I went to Ardor. I was there for 9 weeks. And I went to Christensen where I was there for 15 weeks. And I came back to I came back here to Cheeseman. The Ardor, to me, the culture wasn't for me, and the equipment. I'm big on culture, home time, equipment, compensation, knowledge. When the equipment isn't up to par, they rent their trucks from Penske. They're upfront about it. They tell you they get lease their trucks from Penske. When Penske's willing to change one steer tire, I'm not willing to drive the truck. Sorry. The truck wasn't, they gave me back a truck. A truck went in for routine maintenance. Now, that's not Ardor's fault. That's Penske's. But Ardor gets their trucks from Penske. And they're willing to give me a truck that's got 2 different brand names on steer tires. Not going to happen. Not doing it.
Yeah, when you replace your steer tires, you should definitely replace them both at the same time.
Yeah, they weren't even the same size.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
And they thought I was nuts when I told them I wasn't taking the truck.
So you didn't build that. Says, gosh, I want to be a truck driver so bad. So tired of dealing with pissy customers at Subway.
Hey, wait a minute. Sometimes I'm one of those customers at Subway, all right? Fix my sandwich right.
That's right. So he wants to know, what are steer tires? The ones on the front. That is correct. That's why they steer your wheels, basically, steer tires.
I saw a guy last night come into a truck stop, and he had 4 steer tires, and he had 4 steer tires and 3 axles of drive tires. Pretty impressive size of a rig there.
Wow. I've seen some of the bigger construction trucks too that have those real wide steer tires. I know they do a lot of heavy duty stuff, and that's why. But it's pretty massive to see those guys running around.
I think this was because of the sleeper. It was huge.
Right.
Big old red sleeper, gigantic.
Yeah. Good evening, Alex. How are you, bud? You got any questions for the Midlife Trucker? We're actually up to 28 people now.
Alex M was over at Arter Express as well.
Okay. So he's following you over, obviously, because I put it out there that you're going to be on here. Christian Jennings, Tom, do you have a driver code? I can put it on my Cheeseman application.
Hey, let me tell you the neatest thing about this company. Yeah, we got a driver code that you punch into the tablet. We don't need driver codes here. You just tell them a person's name. When you call in, 9 times out of 10, they saw your name on caller ID and they address you by your name. This is not a company where, I mean, they got 300 drivers, but they know us all. We don't have, I'm going to explain something kind of weird. Let me take a minute here. We don't have, like most companies, you have a dispatcher, fleet manager, whatever you want to call them. And then you have load planners and all that, and sales. We don't have that. Dispatchers control an area. So when I'm in Ohio, Ashley's my dispatcher. Indiana, Steve's my dispatcher. I'm up here in New York, it'll be Jason Poling. Every different place that we go, we have a different dispatcher. So when you first start, that's a little bit of a disadvantage because you got to establish rapport with all the dispatchers. They kind of got to learn you. But at the same time, as you learn them, they learn you, and you start learning, where you can go, what load you're probably going to get when you get to certain areas. And you get to know them better, and also they get to know you and how you drive. But have you ever seen a dispatcher go down, jump on a forklift, and rearrange something in a trailer? I was down in Greer one day, and I said, "Hey, I can't get this trailer to weigh right. It's off." And I went back up, showed him what my weights were. He went down there and pulled 2 skids off, stuck a different skid on. Bam, ready to go. That was a dispatcher. You don't see that. It's just not something that you see. And also for recovery, I was there on a weekend. Load was overweight. Dispatcher Ryan, he goes down there and he pulls off a couple skids. Took care of the problem. He said, "I'll stick that on the next load going out. You're good. Let's go." No hold up and wait till Monday to fix it.
Let's see where we're at. Jermaine, how's it going, Jermaine? Glad to see you on here. Wife saying hello to Alex and Jermaine. Alex M, yes sir, was at Arter for a year. Now local LTL at Saya. And Saya is a good company. I've heard good things about them.
Are you pulling tandem trailers, little bitty short pups?
I'm sure he probably is. Kristen Jennings says that's really cool. Alex M is telling my wife hello. You didn't build that. Hey Tommy. So now he's calling you Tommy. Hey Tommy, if I get my CDL, can I work for Cheese Guys as a rookie driver? I think that's about it. Yeah. Nicole, you can go ahead and block him. I don't think that's going anywhere.
Well, if you were going to call me Tommy, you got to put an H in it. But
yeah, I'm going to get him blocked right now. Bear with me a second here. Kind of had a feeling, but we were giving him the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes stuff like that happens.
No doubles unless you volunteer on a Saturday. When I was in my last career, I was an executive with a new company that owned newspapers, And the Gwinnett Daily Post was our flagship paper. We had a SAIA driver that used to come in there with doubles, spin a U-turn, and put that back trailer slap at the door. Literally, I watched drivers who had the who had a 53-footer not able to do what this guy was doing, and he was doing with doubles. And he had done it so long, blind side, side side, he didn't care. Spun that thing around just like he did it every day of his life, and he probably did.
So it looks like my buddy Techno, his name is James. He got on here. Says, "How do I apply? Do they have a website? They should have a website, don't they?"
They do. They have a website, and also the phone number's on there. You can always call. I always tell people if you're going, you can always do both, because truthfully, when you our recruiters, nicest ladies in the world. They're not going to lie to you. They're not going to press you. They're not going to try to force anything on you. They're not going to call you 50 times. They're just not going to do it. They're the lowest sales type. You're not going to find them as doing sales type things, because they know that you're going to call them. Chances are you might not live in the right area. We might not have a truck available. It's a weird experience when there's not 50 trucks out there waiting for you to go pick which truck you want. When I went to Christensen, they had a line of 13 trucks across the front. They were just ready to put somebody in them. And they had more trucks coming. Have you driven by there recently, Fly Rabbit?
Where's that at?
Have you went by Christensen there in Stratford?
It's been a while, actually.
I passed by there last week. There's a whole bunch of those blue trucks sitting in their lot, and a whole bunch. Man, they got a lot of Peterbilt
Blue?
sitting there. Yeah, they got
said
a bunch of blue ones. I think they took those back off the road or something. But
blue trucks. I didn't know they had any blue trucks.
I was getting ready to send my drone over there and check it out. I've done it a couple of times.
All right, so back to Alex M says no doubles. Oh, we've already read that. So Biden wears diapers. Says, why do I censor the dude? Well, it's obvious why I censored him. There's really no reason. Number one, you don't call my guest Tommy. That's not his name, Tom. And he called it Cheese Guys as a rookie driver. Well, it's not Cheese Guys. It's obvious that he's a troll. Start making comments like that, then you're going to get blocked. Christian Jennings says, how long is orientation? Do they hold orientation at the Greer terminal?
No, all orientation is at Fort Recovery. If a person, say you lived in the Greer area, they'd probably give you one of the company cars and have you run it up. Oh, that's another neat thing. We have company cars at two of our terminals, both Greer and Fort Recovery. And one of the cars at the Greer terminal is an Acura. I mean, how many companies put you in an Acura? They're all Hondas.
Where's Fort Recovery at?
It's on the Indiana border.
Okay.
It's near Portland, Indiana.
Okay.
And
in Ohio?
Yes. It's right on the Indiana border. And and obviously Greer is right there outside of Greenville.
Yeah, I know where Greer is. When I was at Swift, that was the terminal that I was based at.
It's not far from the Swift terminal. I actually went and had dinner with somebody who was a Swift driver.
Okay.
And I was able to get a company car from Greer.
That's interesting. So that's the only two terminals they have then.
No, they have other. Okay, we're using the word terminal loosely here. Anybody who's been to Prime knows what a terminal looks like. I mean, they got that Taj Mahal up there in Springfield, right? Right. We're using the word terminal loosely. How about we call it a cross dock with a bathroom and a couple of couches, okay? I'm telling you that the terminal in Fort Recovery is huge and has dispatch. It's got a little driver lounge. It's got a shop. The one in Greer's got a shop, has a table and some chairs to sit at while you're waiting for your truck. That's another weird thing here. We are not an interruption of the shop's work. We are the purpose of their work. So if you bring a road truck into the shop, you're going into the shop like now. You might wait at Fort Recovery, you might wait an hour for your truck to get in the shop. But at Greer, they're probably going to back whatever's in there out and put you in there right now. That's hard to get used to because at Millis, when I first started at Millis, they were that way. But after Heartland bought them, that shop was 7 to 5. And if you showed up, they probably said, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. That's not the case here. It's different animal. But when I say terminal, like I'm going to a terminal in East Windsor, Connecticut tomorrow. Calling that a terminal? Let's just say it's a minefield parking lot. I mean, it's a parking lot with a few holes in it. It's a cross dock, and they got a bathroom. That's as far as the facilities go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you guys have a bunch of nice terminals, JB Hunt, don't you?
They've got a few. I wouldn't call them nice, but there's a few.
And of course, Swift now has access to all the night ones. I don't think they can use the US Express ones yet. But that's one of the things about Millis. When you make a determination where you're going to go for your training in your first carrier, one of the advantages of Millis was the fact that they had the Millis terminals, the Heartland terminals. Now they've got CFI and Smith as well, but they didn't have that when I was there. But the other thing is, if you're going to your first carrier, when they train, do they solo dispatch or team dispatch? That's a question to ask. Before I made the decision to go to Millis, I went to TMC. I actually went there, talked to them, met them, and they solo dispatch there. I really like that about them. Funny thing about them is their bus is even black and chrome, okay? Yes, their bus that they pick you up at the airport is black and chrome. Now, I wasn't there for orientation. I was there to meet them and make a decision. I also went to Prime after that. I left Iowa and drove to Missouri in a rental car, and they showed me the whole tour, the Z building and the Millennial building and all the ones. They didn't take me to Fire and Ice, though. Should have took me to Fire and Ice. That steak dinner might have convinced me. But the big negative for me on Prime was because of where I live. Remember I said geography matters? I would have had to be a lease operator. And I'm not even a truck driver yet at this point. This is not 2019. And they're telling me I'm going to have to be a lease operator? No option? I don't know if I want to be a truck driver, let alone a lease operator. And so that kind of turned me off for Prime. And then I also checked out Swift in Waco, Georgia. And I tell you what, Swift's got a lot of freight, but what turned me off there is the fact they team dispatched during training, meaning my trainer's going to be asleep while I'm driving down the road. And when I was at Millis, that didn't happen. My trainer was in the passenger seat the entire time. There was a single day where he slept because he didn't feel well. And that was at the very end of training. All the rest of the time, if I was driving, he was in the passenger seat. If for some weird reason he had to drive, maybe I was out of hours and we had to get just a little further, I was in the passenger seat. He said, you can't learn anything from the bunk. And I agree with that 100%. You can't train from the bunk and you can't learn from the bunk.
So let me clear up something here. Biden Wears Diapers has made a couple comments. He says, I have an American flag in the background and you're blocking someone because he got a name wrong. There's no different than that than what the lefties do on conservatives on media. I'm out of here, lame. But, buddy, you know what? I agree with you. You're the one that's lame, and I'm glad you're out of here because it's my channel, number one. And when you start making derogatory statements like you are, then you have no business being on here. So, as far as I'm concerned, good riddance on both of you guys. Sorry about that, Tom. I wanted to put that out there. Jerry McClure wants to know where 18 and Country is. Country was in here a minute ago. I talked to 18 earlier. He's driving. Yeah, I had to take that comment off. I don't want to. That comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
watch
know
yourself there.
I don't
like those comments. Yeah, I take those comments off because of certain reasons. Anybody else got any questions?
Now you're at JB
Yes,
Hunt. At JB Hunt, when they bring on company drivers, do they draw from the same load boards you guys do?
We don't have any company drivers. The company drivers that we do, they are all dedicated on accounts. What we have competition with are the guys that have their own DOT authority. That's the white Volvo division is what we call it. You know what the white Volvo division is. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
they all have white Volvos.
And you know what color my Volvo was when I was at Arter?
Probably white.
Yeah, it is.
You were a white Volvo guy.
Here's a funny thing about Arter.
But the thing is, did you wear it? did you wear sandals and did you have your feet up on the dash like they do?
I don't even own a pair of sandals other than my shower shoes. Funny thing about Arter, and now you'll notice this when I tell you this. If you notice a truck and it has Arter on the doors as well as on the trailer, it's a company driver.
Yep.
If it has TTS on the truck, but Arter on the trailer, it's a lease operator. Tornado.
That's how you tell them, huh?
Transportation services. Yeah. Yeah. At Christensen, there was no
Were
difference.
you over
Literally,
there?
the trucks were the same.
But you know, it's funny that you said that. I actually, when I was at Christensen, if I would have stayed there, I actually had them talked into letting me put my company logo on the side of the truck, but it would have been on the sleeper, and I was changing the colors around to match the gray and the black. They were going to let me do it, believe it or not.
I saw a couple of trucks that had different logo stickers on there. There's one that had some ball team on it, and it was huge. And of course, I'm sure you saw the purple Western Star.
I've seen that one before.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something here, but no. This Biden wears diapers kind of got me off a little bit. Oh, were you over at Arter when
I was, and they asked me to be on the round table, and I declined. I just did not. I showed every pay statement the whole time I was there, just like I've done here, just like I did at Millis. I've done that since the beginning. Now, at Arter, there were a couple people who put me down, but I never told anybody to do that or anything. Main thing I'll do, like here even, my phone number is at the bottom of all my videos. So is my email address. I tell everybody, now before y'all send me spam, that's a Google Voice number, okay? I have to call you back or you can text me. Because believe me, I get those people who send me in for the auto insurance warranty. Anyway, here's the deal. Recruiters are not truck drivers. They can't answer some of the questions that we can answer. You're going to ask me, you're going to ask the recruiter if your truck has adaptive cruise control. They don't have a clue what you're talking about. I mean, they're nice people and they might know because now some cars have adaptive cruise control, but they don't know the things we know. Like what kind of loads do you haul?
That's right.
Where are you going to fuel at? They don't know those things. Do you have shower power at Flying J? There's a lot of questions that drivers have for other drivers. And I tell people before you put somebody down as a reference, you need to ask a whole bunch of questions. You should have like a list of questions because just because I'm happy here, you might not live in the right place. You might tell me you live in Miami and that may not work. Or you might say you live in San Antonio, which of course they probably wouldn't hire you then anyway. You could wind up having totally different shippers or receivers, most of the time. Ask a lot of questions. And you tell them that all the time. I hear you. You tell them that, Fly Rabbit. Ask questions every day.
Yep. So I got a question for you about Cheeseman. My buddy Techno that was on here a minute ago, James, he's in the Wichita, Kansas area. Is that a good area for him?
It's not. Basically, I don't say you shouldn't ask because you never know when they have something. But if you're west of I-35, it's kind of not a good area. They like to be able to get their drivers home.
Well, actually, he's not west of that. He's not west of I-35. He's right on 35. That's where Wichita is. It kind of skirts up from Dallas up to Oklahoma City to Kansas City. He's right on 35.
Yeah, he could look at the map on there and he could actually call them. Because also, keep in mind, they might have a specific need. I'm not in the meetings. I don't get to hear what they say in the office. I'm a truck driver. As you can tell by the wonderful surroundings, this is not a green screen. Right. But I know somebody who got hired in Michigan just not long ago, and apparently we needed a driver in Michigan. So the worst they can say is no. I mean, I always say call and ask. You just got to find what you want to do. In your case, you want to be a lease operator, owner operator, and move to that avenue. I'm at a different point in life. I'm 58 years old. I want to remain a company driver. I don't want to have the worries, the stress. If I park this truck at the house, I'm not worried about a truck payment. I pull up the house, back the truck in, plug it in, I plug in because I like to leave my air conditioner on and I like to leave my refrigerators on. And I go to the house and I don't worry about that truck for 4 days. Whereas if you're a lease operator, you're counting those minutes and you know this, you're counting those minutes. But if you're a good businessman, you've already planned for that. And you said, okay, I'm going to have a week off in June. Better make sure I saved up a little money to make that payment, because they don't seem to care much about whether you drove that week or not.
Well, believe it or not, we got 25 people on here. We're going to put up, if anybody has any questions, we're going to cut this loose here in just a minute. Kristen Jennings says later, Tom, he's putting you down on his referral. So you got him.
I wish you'd talk to me first, but okay.
We're at 56 minutes. Did I lose you?
No, I got you.
I lost you there for a second. We didn't hear anything you said.
Sounded like you were underwater there.
Country's got something. Did some research.
Okay. All right, let me tell you a little about.
Country said he did some research on drones. Don't need a 107 as long as it's for personal use.
Yeah, well, here's a rule on the 107. If you start posting it on YouTube, especially if it's on a monetized channel, people are going to drop dimes on you. You're going to get phone calls. The FAA is going to call you, or they're going to send you a message telling you to call them. So if you put it on YouTube, get your Part 107. Unless it's completely a non-monetized video and you're just having fun and you're just flying around chasing ducks or something. But if you put something on a monetized channel, be sure you have your Part 107. I've gotten several messages to call, and I've had to call them, and I give them my license number. As soon as I give my license number, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I looked at you right here on the computer. You're good. And they've asked me a couple other times. If you notice, it looks like I'm over top of the truck stop. That's cropped. I'm usually over top of the building or I'm over top of the grass, and then I crop it down to get the truck stop in. You technically, you don't sit there and fly over top of vehicles. So I sit off to the side and then crop it. I know. And if you look, sometimes you can even see they're at an angle. Just couldn't find a good spot to get a good video. Anytime, Country. I've seen you on here before. I was watching, you were just here the other day.
You still here, Tom?
I am. I can hear you sometimes. I think we're both choppy.
All right, yeah. Yours is going in and out. We heard some of it. It looks like Country got his question answered. He said, interesting. Thanks for that, Tom. Techno said he's going to do more research and give them a call. Now all the comments are coming in. Facts don't care about feelings. Hi, everyone. Is this channel where free speech advocates can come to get blocked? There's another one. Go ahead and block them. Michael Birch. Hi, Tom. Cot Jockey. It's amazing how many miserable people have so much time to harass small YouTube channels, especially in trucking channels. Really sad. I agree with you. Facts don't care about feelings. All right, I hear you. Went and started a new YouTube channel so you can come and comment on us, huh? Very smart of you. Michael Burst said he's rolling all night until Saturday night.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Michael's over there at that private fleet. That large private fleet that doesn't have to worry about finding parking.
Yeah, well, that's so funny because that comment isn't on Facebook. Facts don't care about feelings. You see it on your Facebook?
You mean on YouTube?
Yeah, it's not showing up on YouTube for some reason. Oh, here we go. There, he's hidden. Come on, no one has a sense of humor. Yeah, you're done. You're gone. He's out. Yeah, I don't have a sense of humor when it comes to trolls. I take things a little bit serious with what I do and what I try to provide for guys wanting to come on here. How many years of experience does JB require for IC? So it's funny that you asked that. They just trying to remember. They just called me today, and believe it or not, there's only 3 months experience is what they need to come on as a contractor now. It was a year, but Brenda called me today and said they bumped it down to 3 months, just like SFI. So you can go be a company driver for 3 months and get an SFI truck and then come into JB Hunt. Yeah, Michael Birch just confirmed that too.
And if you do that, Michael Birch used to be at JB Hunt. If you do that, I highly suggest that you have somebody in your corner like Fly Rabbit and crew, because if you've only got 3 months experience truck driving and you go off to be a lease operator, owner operator, you need to have a lot of good business mindsets. There are people in this industry that have trucked for years that are not good businessmen. They're excellent truck drivers. They're just not so good at the business aspect of it. Fly Rabbit's pretty good on that end. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Michael Birch. Yeah, absolutely. It would be tough with 3 months. There's no doubt about that. Christian Jennings, hey, Rabbit, go ahead and block me too. Being blocked by a thin-skinned douche is an honor. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Thanks, James. Christian Jennings, hey, Rabbit, go ahead and block me too. Being blocked by a thin-skinned douche is an honor. I wonder who a thin-skinned douche. I wonder if they're talking about me or you, because I'm not thin. I'm fat. I mean, he just asked you for your referral stuff too, didn't he?
I thought so. I got it mixed up.
Yeah, I thought so too. No, he did. He said he'll put you down as a referral. Christian, I'm a little confused there, buddy. I don't know. I don't know what you're going with.
Thin-skinned, not thin as in getting skinny.
He what now?
He said thin-skinned, not as in getting skinny. I had to zoom in. I couldn't see.
Oh, I got you. I know a buddy who is looking to go back OTR. He just texted to jump in here. Hopefully he does. Cheeseman hire from does Cheeseman hire from Texas?
We have several drivers from Texas, but they have to have an opening. So you probably don't quit. Here's the biggest piece of advice I can give anybody who wants to go to Cheeseman. When you call recruiting, if they say no today, get your application in and just call them back or send a message 3 or 4 months from now and ask, hey, don't quit your day job. Don't quit your job you got right now and think you're just going to go there. This is not like it was in 2019 where if you had a heartbeat and a CDL, you pretty much could get a job at any company. I mean, that's the way it was. And those companies in Chicago were willing to waive one of the two. I don't know which one, but they waived one or the other, heartbeat or CDL, one of the two. The problem we have now is the industry's changing, and they're a lot more picky now. They don't want people who job hop. They don't want people who don't live in exactly the right area. Who's talking? Country, who's talking about James? Did you see Country's remark?
He's talking about Christian Jennings, talking about the I don't think he said go ahead and block me too. Being blocked by a thin-skinned douchebag is an honor. So he must be talking about me. He must be another one that's in that group too. Jerry McClure said, hello, Country. And Nicole says, hey, Chris, that's correct, Country. Crazy. Cheeseman is a great place to work. Good people, good equipment. Hot jockey. Old Coach Tro's bored looking for a new target. Misery loves company. They hate seeing others happy. It's funny that you say that, Kajaki, because that was the first thing that I was thinking. That's what happened in midlife. I brought you on here. I haven't had any Tros, but because of all the people that trode, what's his name? Coach, they're coming over here on now and doing that because they following you.
Oh, wonderful. I don't do lives on my channel, so I don't have that issue. I guess they don't want to.
My buddy Chris
still.
My buddy Chris says, Tom, when you drove a white Volvo, did your towel ever fall down in your eyes?
Hey. Look, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says you'd always travel with your towel, okay? Come on now.
He's just kidding. That's my buddy, the Poppy, that goes on here with me. Alex M says you can get into a Chicago company with just a green card, buddy. There's a lot of companies right now that you can get into with just a green card.
Let me tell you guys a little secret. Immigration status is a protected class. You can't refuse to hire somebody because they've got a green. If they are legal to work and they clear E-Verify, you can't refuse to hire them based on national origin, immigration status, sex, creed, race, religion. Those are protected classes. And you will get in a deep world of trouble if you refuse to hire somebody just because they are not an American citizen. If they are legal to work in the U.S., you can't consider that. I know it sucks, but I'm just telling you, back in my days of executive management, we
All right, I think we lost him again. So Michael Birch just said, "Don't ever get hit by a company that isn't in the USA. It's a nightmare for insurance. That's normal hiring laws, which is why I just said they weren't what we're looking for." I agree there. Tom, I think we've lost you, buddy. Yeah, we lost Tom. We'll take him off the stage here. We're going to go ahead and cut this short, anyways. He disconnected. We're going to cut this live short tonight. I got to get rolling, anyways. I hope everybody enjoyed the live. We'll be back live again next Wednesday at the usual time. The trolls hacked his audio. Sometimes I question everything, man. Sometimes I think the trolls might have the power. And they always say that it's the conservatives are ones that stop everything, but it's just the opposite. Maybe they're the left end. Who knows? Too many truckers watching Netflix on T-Mobile next to him. Yeah, I hear you, man. That might be the problem, too. We're going to cut this show short. We've been over an hour and 7 minutes. We had a most of 29 people, which really I was surprised we got that many tonight, but I think a lot of them came over because of Tom Bell, which is fine. That's what I expected. But everyone have a good night. Anybody needs to call me, I put my number up in the messages. Feel free. I'll put it in the banner here again real quick. Anybody needs to call me, feel free to give me a call if they have any questions about anything. Everybody have a good night. I'm sure all the trolls will call me. Good night, guys.